computer and then share my screen. Okay, so we are in week 5. And here it is, week 5 here. You have your a little quiz that you go through today about identifying levels of measurement this week. And then in week 6, there is a group assignment which is due on February 16th. So I just wanted to go through this with you so you know how to find out who's in your group and what is actually due. But I thought it'd be good if I let you know about it now so you can get in touch with everybody and start working on it. So this is the instructions here. You'll be assigned to one of the following groups: statistical, conclusion, validity, internal validity, construct validity, external validity. And then what I want your group to do is teach, pretend you're the instructor and you're teaching this concept to a class. So if you'll develop a narrated slide presentation, and I said probably no more than 10 slides. And then within those slides, you can embed little videos of yourself. That's how we do presentations in the online environment. And there's some great instructions on how to do that here. One of our instructional designers has created a little video there. So if you click on that, that'll take you to the instructions here that she goes through. Okay, so that's instructions for that. And that's how we'll do the final presentation for the class too. So this is kind of a good way where you can try using this technology. I know not everybody's taken a class online before. And what I also want you to do is to fill out a peer evaluation of your classmates. There is a rubric below, and this really goes into how you'll be graded on this. So a lot of our learning activities were worth 10 points. This one's a little heavier because it's a little more work, so it's 40 points. And you can see how it's broken down here with the biggest allotment of points really to the overcoming the threats to validity, providing an example. So let me go back a little bit. So what you're going to do is go to your Pollitt and Beck book. That's probably a great place to start, and look at the chapter that talks about validity. And maybe you want to assign someone in your group to do the definition of validity, that type of validity. You can break it down however you want, but what you'll also be doing, so first of all, you'll provide the definition of that type of validity. And then right in the book, it says what the threats to the validity are. And then you can talk about ways that researchers overcome threats to validity, and then provide an example. And what did the researchers do in their study maybe to overcome this? So then you want to make sure you're using APA format, and in presentations, that's a little bit different, and there's some resources in the course for that. And there's presentation principles, so how, do you just read from the slides, or are you more engaging, and are your slides just kind of a guide to help you present? So, and then the peer evaluation is worth 5 points. So let me go up before I forget. I'm going to go to, I think, modules. And this is my screen, so it might look a little bit different from yours. But in the week 0 resources, there's some library and writing resources. And let me know if you want me to track back and show you how I got to different things. But this is under modules, and it's week 0. There's lots of good resources in there. This is presentation resources. So it gives you some ideas about how to design effective PowerPoints. These are more about creating a poster presentation. And then APU's Writing Center actually has a speaking center. So if you want to go in or set up an appointment with them to go through your slides and how they look, you know, I think that would be well worth your while to go through and have them just take a look at that. And they can let you know, is your citation right on the slide? Is there too many words on the slide? Or do bullet points instead of, using full paragraphs on a slide and all that kind of stuff. But there are some resources here for designing effective PowerPoints. Okay. So where you can find out who's in your group is go to the People tab there. And then you'll see here's everybody. And then you'll see these are the person's email address. So it's just this here and then at apu.edu. So you can get in touch with each other using that. And you can go to your group assignment there. And then you can click on here. So construct validity is going to be Isabella, Mercy, and Lauren. External validity, and you should be able to go right in to the People tab and see this there. So for external validity, it'll be Cynthia, Miriam, and Alex. Internal validity has a little bit more to it. So we have 4 people in that group: Nicoletta, Valerie, Megan, and Kelly. And statistical conclusion has a little bit more to it as well. And that's Janina, Natalie, Gerard, and Laura. All right, so you can go in there. You can maybe send out a group email to your group and say, how do you want to break this up? Maybe read a little bit about your type of validity before, get some idea about how you want to divide it up. You can be a little creative about how you want to do this. I'm pretty flexible with that. Do you have any questions about that? What I just was looking at in here, let me see, I was thinking like, say somebody had, what's the name of this article? You guys over. So there might be some articles here. This one was an example of a study where they developed a pain scale, and they wanted to make sure that it was reliable and valid in Thailand. So they took this scale and they tested it there to make sure it was actually testing what it was supposed to. So they were looking at construct validity in here. And so this article would go through and be a good example of how a researcher looks at construct validity. It looks at other things too, but that would be an example of a study that you could use as your sample here, as your example here. You can pretty much use any peer-reviewed study you want. It just should be a good exemplar of the type of validity, and show the classmates and me that you understand what that type of validity is. Okay. So that is week 6, and that is due February 16th. I think that's all I have. If you guys have any questions about anything else or about this assignment, let me stop sharing here so I can see everybody. Anybody have any questions about anything?
No.
Just want to chat about anything? Super Bowl? What do you think about that?
Can you hear me? This is Kelly. I was wondering if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't know why my video is not working. Sorry. I missed the very beginning, so this is just for week 6 assignment. And then is it a paper or is it a
It's a
PowerPoint?
presentation. Yeah, a slide presentation.
Slide presentation. Okay.
And so you can use PowerPoint, but really with embedding videos into slides, it works a little bit better with the Google Slides.
Okay.
Anybody
Hi,
else?
Dr. Lapson.
Hi.
This is Miriam. Can you hear me?
I can.
I was wondering, is this being recorded? I was listening in, but I can't do the video call right now because I'm driving.
Yeah, it's being recorded, so you can see how I'll post it, and I can walk you around in there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So sometimes people have questions about how to do the videos, but really what you can do is you can use your phone and just record yourself and then share the videos, send them to yourself as an email and then embed them in the slides. There's another thing, hold on one sec. Let me share my screen again. You guys might have noticed sometimes I make little videos for you. What I use is this Screencastify. So if you go to, I think it's screencastify.com, you can add it as an extension. Screencastify. And I always will use Chrome for my browser. My browser's a little slow today, but if you go to this, it will have you download it, and then it'll be up here. Can you see where I'm pointing with my pointer at the corner of my screen?
Yeah.
There's that little video there. So whatever, if I'm in, I'm in here and Google Slides, that over. That's my Gmail. I'm going to go into my APU mail. So if you are signed in to your APU mail and you go here, you could go to find slides right there. And you can do any one of these templates here. Click on a blank one. I hope I remember how to do this, but you can go to Screencastify and click on that, and then you can choose to record your browser tab. So anytime you change around on here, that's what you'll be recording. You can do your desktop, and you can do embed webcam. So when you record, so I'll record right now, failed to start. I don't think it can use my webcam because I'm using it with Zoom right now, but it would include a little picture of you down to the right. So that's another way that you can do a recording. And then when you are done with using your Screencastify and recording it, you can have it download to your Google Drive. So if any of you guys want, when I was in here this week 6 here, if you watch this, move you guys over. If you watch this video here and you're like, what the heck? I still don't understand how to do this at all. Maybe you can give me, one of your slides or something, and I can help you insert or embed a video. So it's kind of hard in the online environment doing presentations. So this is kind of the best way that we have. So hopefully it will work out, and once you've used it this time, then for your final presentation, it'll really be a breeze. Okay. So did you guys love qualitative research? Everybody want to be a qualitative nurse researcher?
I do.
I never thought I did, but really when I started looking at people who, what I did my dissertation is people who got diabetes after cancer, and I was thinking, okay, well, why don't I ask them about how much of a burden that was for them? But then when I looked at the literature, nobody had ever asked these people how they felt about this. So for me to ask them, okay, take this scale about burden of having another disease right after your cancer, that would have really been an assumption that I made, or a bias, really, that I'm saying they have a burden, but nobody ever knew that's what happened to them. So then when I interviewed people, and really for qualitative research, you really need small sample sizes. So you'll notice in some of the articles that you read, maybe the sample size is 10, 20. If you see a paper and you don't know if it's qualitative or quantitative, and the sample size is like 300, it's probably quantitative. Because how could you interview 300 people and look at all that data? But when I did interview these people, I found out people who had graft versus host disease, they were just so overwhelmed that they were just like treading water. You know, they weren't like, I don't know if it's a burden or not. You know, this is just what I'm doing in the day to day. And then there were people who had recovered from bone marrow transplant and did pretty well. And they said, you know, we're just carpe diem. We're glad to be alive, and this isn't a burden at all. So kind of interesting that listening to what they say. And then now, since we know somebody's perception about this, a quantitative researcher could come along and use this grounded theory that I did to build on to the next study. So kind of cool. I really like qualitative research. Now, the next thing I'm doing for my research is a secondary data analysis, where I'm looking at a cancer registry that's linked with a survey that all patients take in the hospital, Medicaid and Medicare patients, after they go home, or maybe they send it to them after they've had some encounter with healthcare system. They take it's called the CAP survey. I don't know what it stands for right off the bat, or maybe somebody else does. So I'm going to look at people's perceptions with their healthcare provider, their specialist, people who have diabetes and cancer, and people who just have cancer. Kind of see how they perceive their medical care differently. So that's kind of based on my original research there. So I'm going to apply for a grant to the Oncology Nursing Society for $25,000. So that is due in the fall. I already applied once and I was denied, but they told me to resubmit. So that's what I'm doing. So the fun world of research. Well, that's all I have. Anybody want to say anything?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing about your research.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Megan, thanks for showing up 2 nights in a row. I was in a meeting with another class yesterday, and Megan popped up. I'm like, Megan, is she in this class? I was so confused. All right, well, have a good evening. I lost him again. Good night, guys.